When someone deeply wrongs us, the instinctual response is to build a wall. We hold on to the offense and replay the memory, using the grievance as a defense mechanism to ensure we never get hurt that way again. But locking that resentment inside doesn't form a protective shield. By constantly dwelling on the injury, we sustain a level of internal stress that acts like a biological toxin, steadily degrading our health from the inside out. We usually know that we need to let the anger go, yet we hesitate because we mistakenly believe that forgiving the person who hurt us requires us to trust them again, or leave ourselves vulnerable to the same infection. Clinging to a grievance offers no actual protection against future pain. It simply traps your body in an ongoing cycle of chronic self-harm. Obsessively replaying a betrayal in your mind directly activates the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal, or HPA, axis, the network in your brain and body that orchestrates your reaction to stress. A healthy system produces a steep rise and fall in cortisol, but chronic stress flattens that natural curve into a steady, dysregulated stream. As the exhausted HPA axis loses its physiological braking system, flatlined cortisol triggers a spike in pro-inflammatory immune markers like IL-6 and CRP. Clinical psychologist Dr. Henry Cloud notes that this specific state of chronic unforgiveness operates similarly to an autoimmune disease. Your body's defenses turn inward, actively deteriorating your cardiovascular system and psychological well-being. The data suggests that a grudge is not merely a stubborn mindset, but a state of physiological strain that chronically degrades your internal environment. The path to recovery lies in a psychological framework that severs the link between two different concepts, forgiveness and reconciliation. Forgiveness is a strictly internal, autonomous process. It is a conscious, principled decision to turn off your body's alarm bells and release the desire for retaliation. It requires no apology or remorse from the person who wronged you. Reconciliation is an external, two-person process. It is the act of restoring a relationship, and it requires the offending party to change their behavior and earn back your trust over time. Once you separate these two actions, you can establish clear psychological boundaries. You can fully internally forgive an abuser to stop your own physical suffering, while simultaneously enforcing a strict rule that keeps them out of your life. Decoupling these concepts removes the roadblock to recovery. You can heal yourself biologically without ever compromising your safety or placing your trust in a toxic person again. To achieve that internal release, psychologists rely on the REACH model. This 5-step flowchart guides a person to recall the hurt objectively, empathize with the offender's humanity, offer forgiveness as an altruistic gift, commit to the decision, and hold on when resentment tries to return. Doing this internal work yields measurable improvements in physical health. The Harvard Global Flourishing Study tracked over 200,000 participants across 23 countries and found that individuals who regularly practice this kind of forgiveness report significantly higher levels of mental health and cardiovascular stability. For those who do want to pursue the external track and repair a relationship, the burden shifts to the offender. Research outlines the specific criteria required to make an apology actually work. A successful apology mandates a clear acknowledgement of responsibility and a genuine expression of remorse. If the offender includes defensiveness, justification, or tries to explain why they behaved badly, the repair process often breaks down. If you commit to the psychological work, you can secure your own internal healing. But repairing the relationship is entirely conditional on the other person's capacity for true accountability. The principles that allow an individual to recover biologically can be observed at a societal level, where communities find ways to survive and rebuild after deep historical conflict. When South Africa moved to end apartheid, the nation faced an immense level of shared trauma. To rebuild, leaders like Nelson Mandela and Desmond Tutu applied a dual framework at a macro level through the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. They used the principles of forgiveness to break violent generational cycles, intentionally separating the need for personal emotional release from the societal demand for boundaries, truth, and structural justice. While the scale of a community is far larger than a single person, the core journey remains a search for safety and emotional release. You have the right to cut someone out of your life while still healing your own nervous system by letting go of the anger. Forgiveness is not a concession.
It is not a gift you are forced to give to the person who hurt you. It is a biological and psychological rescue mission you launch for yourself.